I think that I might have found the perfect fridge to put in my Jeep, and it's inside this box. So I'm just spending my Sunday afternoon here creating Mount Cardboard behind me. I'm getting ready to take the Jeep down to Overland Expo Pacific Northwest in Oregon, and I need to put a fridge into the Gladiator. And we've got the new ICECO APL 35, which when I go and look at some of the specs and some of the features that they've published on their website, it's got some things that I haven't seen before at all in a fridge. So if you don't want to watch this entire video and you want to go buy one right now, I'll save you the trouble. Just check out this QR code or the link down in the description. It's going to take you to ICECO's sale that they have going on. They've got an early launch, and then it's going to go to full retail in August. Otherwise, stick around. We'll take a look at some of these new unique features that we have on this fridge. We'll compare it to the current fridge that I'm using, which is the EcoFlow Glacier. Then we'll put this in the Wrangler and in the back of the Gladiator, and you guys can kind of get an idea of how much space this thing actually occupies in different locations in Jeeps. All right, so here is the APL 35. Now, the first thing you may notice is that this is very shiny. That is because the entire fridge is made out of aluminum. That means the top, these corner guards, all of the sides, these hold down latches that they have on here. It's not just one, you have to undo both of these to open the lid. We also have on the sides, thick metal handles. Let's take a quick look on the inside. This was the other feature. All aluminum interior. And probably our cords to plug this in to both, or either 12 volts or to 110 wall power. So the aluminum extends to the inside as well. This isn't something I've seen in a fridge. Everywhere in here except for this trim piece along the top is all aluminum. So that includes the lid is aluminum, although there's a rubber seal on the side. All the sides, this is one big piece of aluminum, and then we've got another piece on the bottom. And it is a dual zone fridge, so we have a separate area here on the right that we could set to a different temperature. This can get as cold as -4 degrees Fahrenheit, so you can have a very cold freezer section and a warmer fridge section, or you can have two fridge sections or make the entire thing a freezer. We do have a drain plug down here in the bottom in case you spill something in here. We don't have a drain plug over here on the freezer side. So while this is a 35-liter freezer, that means this side is 27 liters and this side, the freezer side, is 8 liters. But they're using a ICECO nano compressor, which is supposed to be 67% lighter and 40% shorter in comparison to other compressors for fridges of this category, which makes this fridge zone quite large. So we can stand a full tall can up vertically in this section here and still close the lid with no problem. It's almost perfect 4x3. So you're gonna get 3x3 and then, I don't know, stick some other stuff right here. And no, we cannot lay a can flat on top of a can and still close the lid. Now the fridge section is much deeper. We can stack some cans on top of each other here. So we can get 2 cans high, or maybe a tall can and a regular can and still have some room in there. This is supposed to hold 57 cans, so not quite, 5 and a bit, 3 and a bit. So 5x3 is 15, and we can do that too high. That's 30 cans on that side. So continuing with the aluminum trend, on the back, holding the lid on, we have some aluminum scissor hinges, which have a neat little feature, and that is a keep open lid. I believe it's 40 degrees minimum, so just below 45-degree angle, and the lid will stay open. A little bit lower, still stays open. So if you're reaching over, leaning over, grabbing something out of your fridge in the back of your rig, the lid won't come crashing down on your hand. This alone might be my favorite feature of this fridge. So another advantage of all of this aluminum construction and that ICECO nano compressor inside it is it makes the APL 35 really light. It's 32 pounds, very easy to pick up and maneuver. It's also not super heavy on one side. Like a lot of fridges with a very heavy compressor, you pick them up and they go like this. It's very balanced, much easier to carry around. There's only really anything going on one side of this fridge. All the buttons and connectors and everything are on one side. You have air vents for the compressor, which is going to be on this side underneath the freezer, right next to this, but all around this, there's nothing else you have to worry about blocking off when you're setting it up in your vehicle. As I mentioned before, we've got these handles that you can use for tie downs. They've got some rubber on them when they go back into place, it keeps it from scratching. Now I wonder if this aluminum will scratch up over time, as it's kind of a brushed aluminum. It does have Bluetooth, so you can connect to this. We'll fire that up in a second, see what that looks like. And we've got some controls, LCD screen, and this is also where you're gonna plug in your connectors for your power on the fridge. Now, some of the other ICECO fridges in the past have had connectors on the other side so that you could connect and power it from either side at any given time, but this one does not. There's nothing over here but just the handle. So we can run this off of 12 volt or 110, just depends on which adapter you use, but there is only one plug in the side of this. It's this kind of commonly used 2-prong with a little notch in the bottom. So if you're looking for replacement cables, that is not proprietary. And we can just plug it into the bottom here. And then next to it, we have a single USB port. I don't know, I've never used the USB ports on fridges. I don't know why I'd ever use them. And then we should be able to power this up. I see the LCD coming on. It's kind of faint in this bright light that I have here on the garage. Can you guys hear this? I'll put my microphone right up next to it. So this is with my mic right next to the compressor. Very quiet, much quieter than the fridge next to me. So this is supposed to get all the way to its lowest temperature of -4 Fahrenheit in about 11 minutes. There we go, we can see the LCD display a little bit better. Just go in here, you hit the little gear icon, you can set it all the way from -20 to whatever you want. I usually keep my fridges at 0 or 1 degree unless they're being used as a freezer. That way my sparkling water doesn't explode in the fridge. So there we go, about 7 minutes, and we cooled both the fridge and the freezer side down to 0 degrees. So I'm not gonna get into the finer details of just how long this fridge will run on different battery sizes, but ICECO did publish some information that says this will run for about 55 hours on a 1,000 watt-hour battery at an ambient temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. There's so many other factors that really come into play with how long a fridge can run on a battery. Big one being, how big is your battery? How big is the ambient temperature? How much stuff do you have in it? Because if you have an empty fridge full of air, it's gonna have to work a lot harder to keep it cool than if you have a fridge full of water or beverages, for instance, where they hold a lot of that coldness in them. As for size and dimensions goes, let's give this a quick measure and see how it compares against the other fridge that I'm using, the EcoFlow Glacier. Now, keep in mind this does weigh 32 pounds and the Glacier weighs 50 pounds, but the Glacier also has a built-in battery and it can make ice. Putting the two fridges together side by side, the ICECO is a 35-liter fridge. The EcoFlow Glacier is a 37-liter fridge. If you haven't seen the Glacier, put a review up in the corner now, but it's also a dual zone fridge that goes all the way to the top and bottom, but you can remove the divider out of it. And then it also has an ice maker here on the side. Dimensions wise, these are right next to each other, side by side. So a big difference is, so you've got the latches that tuck in nice and tight and retract down. And on the EcoFlow, they stick out the side. Now you can pull these panels off and remove those, but then you've got nowhere to latch this down. The other thing is we've got these secure aluminum latches, so nothing's gonna bump this and pop it open. And on the EcoFlow, you've got a push button to open the lid, just one-handed, which is nice, but it doesn't stay open, although it does have soft close. And so on the ICECO, you've got to undo 2 latches to open that up. More like a trunk, very much like a metal trunk, but then the lid will stay open if you're reaching in and grabbing something. Total width, they're about the same, pretty much equal right next to each other, but then once again, you can see the handles sticking out the side. Now, the ICECO is a little shorter. It's probably about 1 inch or 2 shorter. There's a bit of a bevel on the EcoFlow Glacier, so this is completely flat. And as measurements go, I'll include the latches here and the hinges. We're just about 14¼ inches in depth versus 14¾ inches width. So while this looks wider, this is actually very similar in width. But as far as height goes, we are coming in at 15¾ inches versus 17½ inches total height. And then the actual length, including the hinges, which is going to add maybe ½ an inch. We're about 27¼ inches versus the EcoFlow, which is 26 inches. But if you include the handles, you're at about 30 inches. Now you may or may not care about the app, but I do find the app to be very useful in managing and monitoring my fridges. In the past, ICECO has had a pretty basic app, where EcoFlow has had a very nice looking, easy to use app. So we have an option to either account login or guest mode. I really don't like having to log in just to use my fridge. And then we get an option here to add device, gives us some tips. And looks like we found our ICECO, calls it ICECO freezer. So the freezer section is running a little low because I was sitting there taking photos with the lid off. So I think the compressor was just running constantly, but it's coming back up because they're both set to 0 degrees. Looks like we can control both left and right zones here easily. And we can set our temperature, current temperature 0, refrigeration on, or freezing. Don't know what that does, but we'll just leave it at refrigeration on. And we've got a max or eco mode. I think the eco mode allows it to vary a bit more in temperature from what I've seen on other fridges. So the compressor isn't running as much, it just runs in spurts. You can go into battery protection. So if it sees the voltage get too low on your vehicle, if you're running it right off your vehicle, it'll cut off the fridge, but I usually don't mess with that. And for my friends down in the US, you can change this to Fahrenheit if you'd like. This is so light, I can hold it with one hand, it's crazy. I'm just gonna make jamming this in there a whole lot easier. Fits nice and easy through the Jeep door. That has got to be the easiest fridge that I've loaded into my Jeep. See if I get some scuffs in here already, but no. But yeah, lots of room here behind the back seat. If you have your seat folded down, let's go see what it looks like in the back of the Gladiator. All right, one-handed. Fire this right in the back without bashing anything on the way in. In the Gladiator, it doesn't really fit flat in the back seat. You have to turn it that way, and you know, you need some sort of platform in there to mount it to, but lots of room to open it if you did do that. However, on the Gladiator, I'm planning on putting this in the truck bed. Now that we have the new AluCab canopy on here, we've got to pull out the deck system, and I'm going to add a fridge slide to the bed of the Demonator. So ICECO does have a fridge slide they make for this. It's actually one of the bundles that you can pick out. I'll put a QR code up here on the screen right now that'll take you to the site where you can purchase the new APL 35. They do have some early bird pricing still on for June and July before it goes to full retail pricing on their website in August. So if you want to get in on some of the combos and packages that they have, as well as just the overall lower price, check out that QR code, but as well, everything will be down in the description below. So if you like videos like this and you want to follow along the build of the Demonator and new products that are coming out, I've got a couple of new things on the way that we're going to add to it before Overland Expo. Hit that subscribe button, because if you like this video, you'll probably like some of the other videos on the channel, and check out some of the suggested videos right here that are coming on the screen right now for you guys. My name's Casey. Thanks so much for watching. Leave your questions, comments down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'll catch you guys in the next video.